What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rants, no hate. So, I saw a video of Roy Jones, another video of Roy Jones, another video of Roy Jones, another video of Roy Jones, all new shit. Now, this isn't the first time that I saw a video of Roy Jones making the comments that he made. One, it's perfectly fine to be honest about how you feel. But when you say things and make claims, and in making your own claims, you're not speaking facts, you're speaking your opinion. But you make it your business to make sure you express it every chance you get. I would look at you like you're fake phony. Now, I don't know how Floyd would handle it, but let me say this. If me and Roy Jones were cool, or semi-cool, or whatever it was, bottom line, it was a mutual respect, and then Roy Jones, you see pictures of us together chilling, he got his arm around me and all, but then, instead of just saying, hey man, listen, answer questions to where it's not necessary to give your opinions, because your opinions aren't facts. And even if you base your opinion off of the facts, when you throw yourself in the mix and make claims about yourself that more people will disagree with than agree with, well, what do you say about those people? You call those people haters, then you say those people don't know boxing, right? Okay. I would say fuck Roy Jones. Like, if I saw Roy Jones in person and he's dropping videos talking shit about what I am and what I'm not, I'm like, fuck you. Simply because even if you feel the way you're saying, why do you keep repeating it? You know what I'm saying? I heard Allen Iverson say, man, there's people that think I'm the GOAT. He said, I don't think so. There's players I feel like were better than me. But Allen Iverson fans will tell you he is the GOAT. I don't care what he says, he is, right? Does it really matter? Like, I don't need you to agree with me about who's this. I don't care. I don't even believe in that greatest of all time shit. But if we're going to look at things through the lenses of the people that say this is the criteria we use to determine that, then you sound stupid because you're arguing with yourselves. First of all, fuck your criteria. Two, you're not consistent and you all show favoritism. And you call people boxing experts. Man, these no fucking boxing experts. Just motherfuckers who pay attention to reality and use common sense. Sound judgment based on the knowledge that you have, the understanding of the game. No, you go with who you like and who you don't like. So, here's what happened. In every one of these videos, Roy Jones is making it his business to explain why Floyd Mayweather isn't the GOAT. And he's always talking about who Floyd couldn't beat. Okay, hold up, Roy. How many of your fans do you really believe you'd be the prime Mike Tyson? Now, you think you could. You said Mike wouldn't have been able to hit you. You was too fast. You was on top of your game then. More than half of your fans wouldn't even believe that shit, Roy. Okay. He wouldn't have, Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather wouldn't have had anything to keep Sugar Ray off of him. Okay. Ray Leonard, Duran, Floyd wouldn't have been able to keep Duran on, right? Like Kirkland, you mean like how Kirkland Lang, who defeated him, couldn't keep him off him, and we ain't gonna try to hear that, oh, he was old, he had a bad, no, he just got his ass whooped by Kirkland Lang. Who the fuck is Kirkland Lang? I put this story up about him on my channel. You know how old Duran was? He was 30. Stop with that bullshit. Oh, he was old. No. You guys have more excuses to protect other fighters, and you all sound so fucking stupid because whether you like Floyd Mayweather or not, I can care less. That's not what it's about. Fuck Floyd. Fuck all of these brothers. Fuck all of them. Fuck all of them. That's my honest take on it. Fuck all of them. my respect for you as a fighter, my acknowledgement of your skill set, that's all it is. There's no, oh, these motherfuckers are on pedestals, they're larger than life. No, fuck them. None of them motherfuckers are nothing but human beings that chose a particular profession. Some were great at it, some of them were good at it, some of them sucked at it, some were okay, whatever. So, Roy Jones goes out of his way to tell everybody why Floyd isn't the GOAT and why Floyd, you know, how he couldn't beat this one and that one, right? Don't you get tired of answering the same questions, especially when it's not about you? I've heard plenty of fighters say, hey, listen, man, I don't get caught up in that. That's that man's business. I don't, you know. Not Roy Jones, not when it comes to Floyd. Not when it comes to Floyd. Floyd responded with the most perfect response. The most perfect response he responded with against Roy Jones. I mean, the simplicity of it all. But man, was it just brilliant. You know what that motherfucking Floyd Mayweather did? Floyd Mayweather's still a fucking savage. I don't give a fuck about all that talking and shit that you guys do. You know what Floyd did? Floyd didn't say a fucking word. Floyd, in fact, when he did speak, he didn't even reference Roy Jones. Damn, Aries, what you talking about? What did he say? What did he do? Tell you what this motherfucker did. He sat right in front of the TV in his mansion. And you know what he was watching? All of Roy Jones' knockout losses. And when he spoke, you know what he said? He was at a car dealership buying 4 new vehicles. Bro, man, upstairs, 5th floor. All right, he was buying 4 new vehicles, right? Now, I don't give a fuck about his money and all that. You see how all this ties in? Several months ago, people were, Floyd broke, ha, he, nah, lol, like literally, grown men was literally typing in, nah. I'm like, wow. I know y'all some bitches. I know y'all don't have no women. Y'all probably type that just sit up in the house playing video games with them big goofy ass headphones, yelling back and forth at each other, trying to act gangster because you playing fucking Grand Theft Auto or some goofy shit. Y'all some real sillies. I was like, yeah. Now here's my thing. We heard he was locked up. They had him over there in fucking Saudi Arabia, and this isn't looking good for Floyd. Oh, yeah, see, Floyd has a gambling problem, and Floyd this, and Floyd he overspends, and Floyd. I mean, everybody had an opinion, and I remember the one day where these motherfuckers actually said Floyd was dead broke, he had no more money. Tank Davis, all these different people were saying shit. And the same day, Floyd was in the States and was doing a fucking interview. And I said, ain't these motherfuckers, just look at these dirty, rotten motherfuckers. But you guys are celebrating. So, he just made it known he was buying 4 brand new, really expensive cars. Yeah, I never seen a broke motherfucker buy, $500,000 cars and shit. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, Floyd, you don't have to have credit. You don't have to have money. Just walk and give Floyd. We'll give you 4 brand new cars. Right. Oh, Floyd, you don't have to make payments on this. You have to pay your electric bill, your utilities and all that. This mansion's yours, the property. You don't have to pay nothing. Man. Okay. So, that's the only words he spoke in that whole video. He's about to buy 4 new toys. He didn't have to say anything to Roy Jones. You know why? I'm sitting here watching you get knocked the fuck out by journeymen. Now pull up videos of me getting knocked out by anybody. And you know what hurts Roy Jones and what hurts Roy Jones fans? The fact that you guys have to play the opinion shit when it comes to Floyd. Oh man, he lost to Castillo. Oh, he wouldn't beat this guy, that guy. He wouldn't beat Ray Leonard. He wouldn't beat Hearns. Y'all got to play all of that. Newsflash. Ray Leonard, Hearns, Hagler, all these same people, don't you fucking know that there's a whole lot of people that don't think Roy Jones would have beat them either? But the problem is, see, doesn't matter what the fuck y'all think. Roy Jones got his ass handed to him several times. When he was 36 years old, that's when he got his first legitimate loss, when he got knocked out by Antonio Tarver in the 2nd round. You see, what happened was this. Floyd's last fight as a, in the pro ranks fighting was 38 years old. He was still sharp, he was on top of his game still. You know what happened? Came back and fought Conor. Spectacle. $300 million fight for him. No telling how much more he picked up. It might have picked up or whatever. But bottom line, right? That's what he did. Now, here's the funny thing. Before Floyd fought Conor, you know what Roy Jones is talking about? Him versus Anderson Silva. He talked about that shit for several years. It never fucking happened. And in fact, Anderson Silva ended up fighting Jake Paul at one point. But here's the funny thing about it. Roy Jones was talking about fighting Anderson Silva. Let me show you the difference in their mindsets, the way they think. Roy Jones versus Anderson Silva would have been a flop. Nobody would have gave a fuck. Because both of them were past their primes. Both of them in their respective sports had already taken ass whoopings. So this wouldn't have been no fucking spectacle, man. It would have just been a crossover fight. That's all. And then they probably would have did it on those whack-ass island fights where they be having all this shit with nobody, like half-empty fucking building. Nobody's really, who cares? Who the fuck, as long as you've been alive, who said, yo, I can't wait to see island fights, and this shit became a big topic? Never. Okay. Roy Jones was supposed to fight Anderson Silva. What happened? Right, Mr. I got the most electrifying highlights. If you look at anybody and go back and look at any fighter from the past, the most requested going to be me. And okay, with everything that you're saying, it has nothing to do with you being undefeated or not, with Floyd being undefeated or not. It has nothing to do with that. You're saying all of these things, opinions, right? Floyd fought Conor McGregor. Massive fucking success. You never got to fight Anderson Silva. So when a fighter is calling themselves must-see TV and how popular they are and how they were this and they were that, example, Max Kellerman telling you guys, Roy Jones was so good that when Floyd Mayweather, they were fighting at the same time, nobody even knew who Floyd was. Okay, note to Max Kellerman. I don't know what hood you're from, but we all knew who the fuck Floyd Mayweather was. And in terms of popularity with the fans, well, let's just be real. How many fucking lightweights, from 130 on down, people barely know any of these guys. Look at a new way right now in 2025. A new way is a big fish in a small, well, he's a little big fish in a small fucking pond. There are no names there. It's never been a really deep division. So when he says that, he really tries to, it's like, let me try to shit on Floyd and try to build up Roy. Roy was a bad motherfucker in that ring. I always said it and I always will. Roy was a bad motherfucker in that ring. Whoever Roy fought, I wanted to see Roy win. But first official loss on his record was with Montel Griffin when he hit him when he was down. I thought that was some bitch ass shit that Montel Griffin did. Now, his first legitimate loss, where he got his ass, got beat, was when he got knocked out in the second round by Tarver. He's 36 years old. Not 38, not 40, 36. Okay? Y'all made the same excuse for Sugar Ray Leonard, who was only 34, when he got beat the fuck up by Terry Norris. It's always when a new guard takes out the old guard, it was because they were old. It was because of this. Yet, fight before that, Sugar Ray Leonard stopped Donnie Lalonde. Sugar Ray Leonard called out Terry Norris. But no, let's make excuses for Ray. You motherfuckers don't be telling me nothing about Ray, Roy, or none of these fighters that I don't fucking know. All you give is your fucking opinions. This is exactly what Roy Jones and his fans has in common when it comes to Floyd. That's all they can give you is opinions. But Floyd or anybody can sit there and pull up videos of Roy Jones getting knocked out by a journeyman. One guy is 50-0, 23 knockouts, no defeats. Another guy is 66 wins, 10 losses, with 43 knockouts. Okay? Any of these guys that beat Roy Jones didn't do shit after they beat Roy Jones. I mean, look at Tarver. This motherfucker lost his first title defense against Glenn Johnson, got it back against Glenn Johnson. Motherfucker lost it to Bernard Hopkins. You understand what I'm saying? Disappeared for a while, got beat up by Chad Dawson. I mean, went to heavyweight, was talking shit, didn't do nothing. What did Glenn Johnson do? Nothing. Like, nobody that's beat him did nothing. The only person, honestly, the only respectable fighter that beat Roy Jones out of that whole thing that was Joe Calzaghe. And they're like 4 years apart. So Joe was 36 when he fought Roy. Roy was 40. And that fight should have happened a long time ago. Roy Jones versus Mikushevsky should have actually happened. Roy Jones versus Nigel Benn should have actually happened. Roy Jones versus Chris Eubanks Sr. should have actually happened. Roy Jones versus Steve Collins should have actually happened in their primes. You got James Toney on your resume. You got a John Ruiz on your resume. Got a Virgil Hill on your resume. You know, you got a couple of guys, you know. John Ruiz is no Hall of Famer. He's no, no all-time great. James Toney is. Okay. Virgil Hill. I don't see Virgil Hill as being a Hall of Famer or all-time great. Whether they put him in there or not, I don't know. But, you know, you fought a 39-year-old Mike McCallum to help him make some money. That was your story. Okay, cool. So my point is the same thing that you said about Errol Spence beating a real welterweight. Talking about, you know, what's my man's name? Mikey Garcia fight don't count because he's not a natural lightweight, but you the same guy that fought a little Vinny Pazienza that got his neck broke, went all the way up to 168 pounds and fought you. Okay, cool, but you still fought him. All right, cool. All right? And then we just look at your resume and look at who you beat. I say Roy Jones beat some guys that were, you know, good fighters, not great, not you know, but he made them look so bad. He was just so much better than them. I look at the skill set. He praised James Toney so much because the more you praise James Toney, you know, it's like, yeah, but I beat Toney. And Toney one of the all-time greats. There's a whole lot of guys that would have beat James Toney, though. Stop playing games. There's a whole lot of guys that would have beat James Toney. Now, you look at James Toney, we're ranging from 160 to heavyweight. When you look at it, you beat James Toney real easy. Let's stop trying to make it seem like James Toney was invincible, man. Roy was a bad motherfucker. And what I feel like happened with Roy, and that's false when people say he didn't have the names. No, fuck the names. Fuck all of you guys trying to tell us who's special and who's not. We understand boxing, motherfucker. All right, we know what it is. Those names that I said, if Roy Jones had a fought and beat Chris Eubanks Sr., check on his resume. Nigel Benn, check on his resume. You know, hell, if he would have fought Michael Nunn, if he would have fought Mike McCallum when he was younger, you know, I mean, there's several people he could have fought. Like I said, if he fought those guys and beat those guys, we're talking about one of the most legendary careers. That's what Roy don't have. It's not so much a legendary career. It's more of a super talented fighter who didn't have the names on his resume. All those other, Julian Jackson, he could have fought those dudes. Now, when Roy Jones first started his career as a pro, he did start at 154 and he went up. So, even like a guy like Terry Norris, like I said before, this is a guy I always wanted to see him fight. At that point, Roy wasn't a superstar yet. Now, when Roy got his name up, he wound up going to 175. So him and Terry fought at the same time, but two different weight classes, and Terry stayed at 154 the whole time. See, we don't have to tear Roy Jones apart and try to make him look bad to big up Floyd and nobody else. But what we have to do is be honest with ourselves. If you're going to sit here and say a guy has to beat a real welterweight or a guy has to beat quality opponents, a guy, like he'll tell you, like when he was saying, you going to put me in, Times Square? I got to give you a Times Square performance. You know what I'm saying? I get, because he was talking about he's mad at, or at least that's what the title said, that he was angry at Ryan Garcia, fuck Ryan Garcia, and Devin Haney for not going in there. Well, he should have been upset at the whole card if that's the case. But you know what I recall? I remember several Roy Jones fights with Jim Lampley, George Foreman. What's the other old one used to sit right? I remember them saying Roy Jones was having boring fights. I remember them saying Roy Jones was fighting opposition that people didn't care about. So it's so funny to me how through time people don't remember these things. Now, here's the funny thing about it though. Roy Jones went on record to say who Floyd couldn't beat in his opinion. Ask Roy Jones who he couldn't beat and let's see what he tell you. Like example, old heads don't think he could beat Ezzard Charles. Ask Roy, could he beat Ezzard Charles? Let's see if he tell you he couldn't. And I guarantee you, in his own defense, he would say, I'm supposed to. I'm going to see somebody could beat me. So is Floyd supposed to do the same thing? Why does the rules change for Floyd? You say Floyd couldn't beat Ray Leonard. Floyd supposed to agree with that because you say so? I mean, you went up to heavyweight, and Roy would talk about that accomplishment forever. How many people you find came from middleweight, went all up to heavyweight? You know what I'm saying? That only happened one time in the history of boxing. And he's always, it's like, okay, Roy, but let's be real. I give you credit for going up, being a much smaller guy, and beating John Ruiz. But at the same time, Roy, we know you wanted Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson at the time was supposed to be retired or whatever. We know that. But it's not like you went up and beat Lennox Lewis. You know, you didn't go up and beat a Riddick Bowe or something, you know, Ike Beabucci or David Tua. You know, it's not like you went up and beat any of them. You beat fucking John Ruiz. So my point is, if you want to strip the meat off the bone, and let's look at bare bones, what Roy did versus what Floyd did, their careers don't parallel. So and he's a multi-time champion in different weight classes, all of that shit. So when people try to say, but Floyd was never undisputed, see, and Floyd, he didn't care about any of that bullshit. Floyd did what Floyd wanted to do. You want to know what? Manny Pacquiao, you know, people when they talk about he's more accomplished, you know, understand, you guys find ways to take Floyd opponents that he done fucking beat, smacked around, and try to make it sound like they're better than Floyd. But then you look and think, damn, I forgot Floyd beat this motherfucker. So how the hell do you praise the losers, okay? The guys that he beat, but then try to take credit away. Now, Roy Jones, out his own mouth, disagreed with a comment that Max Kellerman made, which to me was one of the stupidest comments I've ever heard a person make. He said Pacquiao is greater than Floyd. And Roy Jones said, how's somebody going to be greater than you that you beat? And this is the point what I'm saying. And Max is trying to be technical, I guess, because Pacquiao has won titles in more than Floyd is a 5-division champion, and I think they say Manny Pacquiao is 8, but I heard it was 6, and I'm like, I really don't give a fuck. But bottom line, I don't give a fuck if you won titles in 20 fucking divisions. The fact is, when we fought, I smacked you around and beat your ass. So what do I care about any of that shit? This is what they're trying to do. You see, if you was to go side by side or top bottom, however you want to do it, and put Roy Jones in front of a TV, the most you could do is show shots where somebody might have landed a good shot on Floyd. You know what you're not going to see? Floyd go down for a 10 count. You know what you're not going to see? Floyd Mayweather losing to Journeyman, or anybody for that matter. And you can give an opinion all you want about he didn't win that fight. Man, people say Canelo didn't win certain fights. People don't think Holyfield beat motherfucking Lennox Lewis. People don't think, you know, that they call it a draw. There's always fights that you can pull up and somebody going to say this person didn't do this and that. It really bothers people when they see that shiny 50-0. It really bothers them. Floyd Mayweather is who Roy Jones always wanted to be. He wanted people, the majority of the people, to walk around calling him the greatest, saying that he was better than everybody else. Roy Jones, Why all this hate? None of it changes your career, and it doesn't change Floyd's career. That part is the hard part for him to swallow, man. I've never heard of somebody so adamant about constantly always talking about that Floyd situation. And it's like, bro, let it go, man. You sounding like a really jealous, bitter old motherfucker. Every time you turn around, Floyd somewhere, showing up, popping up somewhere, and like with Roy, it's not so much who he beat, it's how he beat them. With most of his fights. Because like I said, if you narrow it down to his best wins, James Toney's is his biggest win. Well, in terms of the danger of him just being a much smaller guy, I would say John Ruiz. But for namesake, the most accomplished guy on his resume that he beat was James Toney. But, you know, when you guys try to put this whole from this year to this year, this guy was unbeatable. Yeah, I know. But at some point they got beat. Floyd never did. And that shit right there is fucking with so many people. So if you sit Roy Jones and Floyd next to each other, right, split screen, or they could be sitting right next to each other watching each other's fights, who's going to be the sour person walking away from that TV? What does Roy have that Floyd has to be jealous of? Roy, you know, and Roy will tell you, I ain't jealous, you know what I'm saying? I'm just getting my opinion. Yeah, but your opinion starting to really get on, like, you starting to sound like like when you break up with a chick and she keeps saying she don't give a fuck, she don't care, but she just keep bringing your name up to anybody that'll listen. That's what Roy is starting to sound like. And I just said, man, this is the most perfect response. Because what he's telling you is, yeah, keep talking, Roy. You keep bringing my name up, then we bump into each other, it's all smiles and handshakes and hugs, but you keep talking all this shit about what I'm not. Okay, cool. Floyd responds to questions that people ask. It's the same way how people will say something to Savannah Marshall about Shields and get her to respond, get a reaction, then go back, interview Shields and tell Shields what Savannah. It's the same thing. Yeah, Roy Jones said blah, 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 or this and that, or do you think you were better than Roy Jones? And what you think Floyd gonna do? Stand up there and, well, this and this and this and that. And the thing about it is, that's what these dirty fucking interviewers do. Floyd don't be coming out bringing up no damn Roy Jones and all them. He addressed questions that people ask and statements that they make, and then he make his point. But I'll tell you this. If you look at everything that Roy Jones did, it was always what Roy Jones did. It wasn't the fight itself overall, what his opponent did, who his opponent was. His opponent was a killer, and Roy went in. It was never that. Roy had no super fights. Never. Never. And Roy's whole career, he's not even in the fucking top anything when it comes to defeating the most champions. So with Floyd's 50-0, he still defeated 23 world champions. You guys, when you say, oh, such and such wasn't shit, right? So that's why when I say, now let's look at who Pacquiao beat. And outside of the fucking familiar names, you don't know none of these fucking people that Pacquiao beat. Same thing with the Inoue. Inoue's running his mouth now, talking about he's pound for pound. Inoue, you don't have the fucking resume to be pound for pound, bro. I don't give a fuck how many times these people glaze you, talk about what you are. You are, like I said, a big fish in a small pond, and you're fighting these guys that's there. You got dropped by a motherfucker nobody knows. We've seen you get dropped a couple of times already by so-called plumbers. Yeah, by Uber drivers. Like the shit y'all like to call people, yeah. But nobody wants to bring that up when it comes to Inoue. Yeah. See, this is what I be talking about with the favoritism. Now, take Roy Jones. You have to make it your business to tell everybody who Floyd couldn't beat. Floyd's resume speaks for itself. Your resume speaks for itself. But it doesn't parallel to Floyd's. And we don't have to play the guess who Roy couldn't beat game, because we already saw who you couldn't beat. And for everybody to keep, yeah, but he was right. Yeah, even when he was that age is still younger than what Floyd was when he fought certain dudes. And guess what? Floyd still managed to be undefeated. Floyd still can go in there and fight exhibitions and make $20-something million for a fucking exhibition. Well, I remember Roy Jones fought a fucking fan. And you had idiots in the comment section talk about that young man is going to cherish this moment for the rest of his life. And he's going to, Roy Jones really giving back to the fans. And I think it was like the kid, I forgot what it was, 50,000, some, whatever, 10, whatever, it was some money. And if the guy won, then he would win the money. Yeah, you have people try to say Floyd is tainting his legacy by doing exhibitions, making an extra $20 million, right? How much you think they paid Floyd to fight Roy to fight a fan? Huh? Yeah. See, and that's my thing, is if you compare what both guys have done, man, Floyd left Roy in the dust a long time ago. And regardless, like when people compare the two of them, it's like, guys, compare Floyd to people. You can do all the comparisons you want, but here's the funny thing. You guys have even compared Floyd to light heavyweights and heavyweights. Like, literally. You guys aren't comparing Roy to fucking heavyweights, and he fought heavyweight once. You understand? This is how you know you're a bad motherfucker. This is how you know when you're better than everybody else. It's like to this very day. Everybody coming to NBA, who was the first person they compared them to if they accomplish anything? Even if they ain't accomplished shit, but they can dunk or do some fancy shot. Do they compare him to LeBron, Kobe, Dr. J, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson? Nah, I think his name was Michael Jordan. But then you be having people come in the comment sections talking about who is better than Michael Jordan and it's like, based on what? Because of who you like? You guys are like police officers that pull a person over and say that they're asking you for ID, this and that. I'm not under suspicion for any crime. No, okay, then I don't have to show you my ID. Why are you pulling me over? Well, if you cooperate, no, it's no if I cooperate. I'm not suspected of any crime, but yet you're trying to detain me, asking me for ID. Now you start to ask for the badge number and have a supervisor come out. Just for the supervisor to come out and tell him, well, no, man, if he's not suspected of any crime, you gotta let him go. Like, what was the stop about in the first place? Well, his car is this and that, and oh, so you personally don't like something about the car. It's not breaking any laws, it's not violating any laws, nothing. You just don't like it. That's a you problem. That's what you guys do. That's what a lot of well, Floyd, he just, right, okay. After you finish talking, 50-0, 23 knockouts, no losses. You know what I mean? No matter how many times you run and cry, and no matter how many times Roy Jones give his opinion, 66 fucking wins, 10 losses, 43 knockouts. To journeyman. And let me add this, okay? Let me add this. If you did not see the interview with Roy Jones, and the guy asked Roy Jones crystallized what I've been telling you guys for the longest time. I know what I'm listening to. I know what I'm seeing when I'm looking at this dude when he's talking. Roy Jones, the guy asked Roy Jones, do you think Canelo's power is going to be too much for Crawford? And he said, no. And he asked him why. Well, Cole, see, skills pay bills. Now, if he make Crawford, make Canelo get tired, don't stand with him right away. Move. You know what I'm saying? When he starts to get tired, you know what I'm saying? He don't have the same steam on his punches. That's when you can move in and you can trade more. Now you can stand and fight more. And this and that. And he says, and I'm the GOAT. I'm the GOAT. Let me say it again. I'm the GOAT. And I'm telling you, Canelo's punching power doesn't matter if Crawford fight him smart. I agree. I see things in Canelo that I feel like if Crawford does what he's supposed to, he can win. It's yet to be seen. But yeah. But I'm the GOAT, and I'm telling you. I told you guys, Roy Jones don't like the fact that outside of his fans, his minions, nobody, you see the same people he called boxing experts and historians and all don't think Roy Jones was the best. They think he had flash flares. You know, he had skill, he had speed, power, but he didn't have the opponents that he needed. He didn't fight the opponents that was there. That he, for whatever reason, those fights didn't happen. But you know, and let me say, I think Roy would have beat all of them. I think he would have beat Eubanks. I think he would have beat Ben. I think he would have beat Joe Calzaghe. I think Roy would have beat all of them. Mikushevsky, Collins. I think he would have beat all of them. Okay, but guess what? We don't know that, do we? But I think he would have. But they were in his era and he didn't. I mean, come on, man. Floyd then fought Castillo twice. He fought Diego Corrales and dismantled him. He done had Shane. He done had Canelo, Zab Judah, Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, come on. What's his name? Guillermo Hernandez, the guy he got his title from in the first place, who was a very well-respected champion. You know, Ricky Hatton, Sean B. Mitchell, DeMarcus Chop Chop Cordy, a guy who people was glazing, and I said, y'all forgot that Floyd beat his ass, didn't y'all? Yeah. Motherfuckers used to walk around wearing panties and shit, wearing women's clothing, all this goofy shit. But yeah, I mean, this dude didn't beat so many people, man. So many, Manny Pacquiao. I mean, he didn't beat so many fucking people. He done beat so many fucking people, man. Now, when you start looking at Roy Jones' resume, it's just like I said, you got to sit here and really, all right, James Toney, okay. Virgil Hill, the body shot, okay, but Virgil Hill is, you know, John Ruiz, and an old Mike McCallum. Okay. Who else? See, this is what I'm talking about. So the Eric Hardings of the world, who broke Antonio Tarver's jaw when they fought the first time and beat Tarver. Tarver beat the rematch. But you see what I'm saying? No, these aren't Hall of Fame guys. These aren't great fighters. These are just guys that was fighting. See, that's what I'm saying about Roy. You can't sit here and tell any fighter you have to beat the top names to be the top when your ass didn't. And then you calling yourself the GOAT. So my point, even if you don't like Floyd, who gives a fuck? If you don't like Roy, who gives a fuck? This is not about who you like and don't like. Roy Jones, Floyd Mayweather has far more of a right to call himself the GOAT than you do. Real shit. You know how people try to talk, oh, Vince Carter was better than Michael Jordan. Yeah, I know, right. Oh, Dominique Wilkins was better than Michael Jordan. I know, right. Till you hear these motherfuckers give their stories about Michael Jordan. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. All these people that y'all, everybody, Tracy McGrady, everybody's better than Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan wasn't shit. He was the most overrated fucking player of all times. People, you know, people exaggerate how high he could jump, how skillful he was, how he could switch the ball in midair and do that. All that shit is just a figment of our imaginations. Jordan ain't shit. Everybody's better than Jordan. Barkley, everybody. Steve Paxson, fucking Robert Horry's better. Yep, because he got more. He got 7 rings and Jordan only got 6. So yep, Jordan, yeah, he was overrated. He was trash. Everybody's better than Jordan. LeBron, Steph Curry, everybody. Every street ballers, everybody's better than Jordan. Yeah. Yeah, just like Floyd. Floyd ain't shit. Floyd is a liar. Floyd can't beat nobody. Floyd, he didn't really beat 23 world champions. No, this is all a figment of our imagination. You understand what I'm saying? We don't have to play that game with fucking nobody. We look at what they've done. So this is why Roy has to explain things. Why? Because when he starts to talk, that make people start to Google him up, go to his Wikipedia, you know, pull up his information, go on YouTube, watch his fights, and then realize, yo, he was a bad dude, but he got 10 losses, man. Damn, to bums. Well, yeah, damn, his prime didn't last as long as Floyd's either. See, Floyd was able to sustain from Pretty Boy Floyd to Money Mayweather. Yeah. Even switched up to where he was already defensive as when he was younger, but as he got older, and when he started to, you know, really get into that shoulder roll and learn how to fucking count off that shit, spin you off with his shoulders, and man, make you miss motherfucking shots. And yeah, I watched this motherfucker and I said, yeah, I can see. Remember how Michael Jordan was already a solid player? That motherfucker started learning how to post and do that little shimmy move and spin off you. It was like that. Like like every year you saw Michael Jordan increase and become better and better and became unstoppable, man. Like he went from being a great athletic motherfucker to a player with no weaknesses. He could shoot that fucking 3. He could shoot that 18-footer. That motherfucker, he could shoot in the paint. I mean, everything. Defense, no weaknesses. Rebound, everything. He could do everything. Yeah, everybody's better than him. Floyd did all the what he did, but everybody's better than him. Ali did all the what he did. Everybody's better than Ali. Reggie Jackson wasn't shit in baseball. Barry Sanders wasn't shit. Everybody who was really accomplished a whole lot. And you know what? You take a guy like Barry Sanders, if somebody said, how come he don't got no rings? Because the Detroit Lions was never a complete team. And he stayed faithful and stayed with them motherfuckers. So, yeah, football in that sense, team sports is different in that sense to where, you know, you play on a certain team and people expect magic to happen. But bottom line, you guys understand what I'm saying. This motherfucker even had a 2,000 rushing yard season with the fucking Detroit Lions. So it's like, imagine if that motherfucker was out on an actual good team. So you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, let's just take people, but let's take all the players that accomplish more than everybody else, and they're not shit because people want to find others and say that person's better. Great, no problem, no problem. Now, here's what happens when reality sets in, and you start to realize everybody is going to always have somebody that have a different opinion on how good they was or how good they wasn't. But when y'all sit here and say numbers don't lie, you put both your feet in your fucking mouth. Because when you look at Floyd numbers, yeah, remember, you all said numbers don't lie. And I agree. But at the same time, the eye test, when I watched and see these motherfuckers fight and see what they can do, I told you. And this is what made me laugh about the whole video, man. Because I'm sitting here going, how the fuck are y'all sitting up here showing all of this hate? Roy Jones was hated at one point. People used to, I can't stand that motherfucker. I used to hear this shit on a regular. People didn't like Roy Jones. That motherfucker arrogant, man, cocky. Let me talk all this shit, man. Fuck Roy, man. Fuck, I hate that motherfucker. When he got knocked out by Tarver, I remember people was jumping up. Yeah, they was celebrating that shit. But once again, when somebody else come along that you hate more, now let's embrace them. I watched Layla Ali go through the same shit. Of course, she had her fans, but she had her haters too. But because all this hate towards Clarissa Shields, all of a sudden, oh, Layla would have did this and stop it, man. Stop it. Y'all hated Layla Ali. Now all of a sudden, y'all love her so much. You motherfuckers never brought up Pernell Whitaker's name, but you hated Floyd so much that when he passed, all of a sudden, yo, he was better than Floyd. Okay. All right. Once again. So when you look at a guy like Roy Jones, man, who we can all sit up and pull up his knockouts. We can watch him get knocked out over and over. You can't pull up any fucking videos of Floyd getting knocked the fuck out. You couldn't find videos of Floyd can't adjust to his opponent like these motherfuckers. Marcos Maidana won. Man, there's no way you can throw that many punches. No, dumb bitch. Throwing punches and landing them are two different fucking things. It's always an excuse. I just found this video funny, man, because I sat there, I'm laughing because Floyd didn't say nothing. The whole time, he's just sitting there watching Roy get knocked the fuck out. But Roy keeps bringing up Floyd. Man, when you become an old, bitter person, it's just weird to me, man. How some people are so stuck and like, I can say stuck in the past, but more like they have a certain frame of mind to where they see things a certain way. It's like you telling yourself, okay, I'm 18 years old now. By the time I'm 26, I want to have my own house, my own car, blah blah blah, this that, my engaged, if not married, and starting a family by the time I'm 28. Then all of a sudden, life does not unfold that way for you. And you're so stuck into what you wanted to do, and all up until the point to where you don't even appreciate what you've done, to the point to where you still feel like, okay, you might feel proud about things you've done, okay, but because you didn't accomplish all of your goals, when you see somebody else who did, even if they did it differently from you, but they did it legit, you feel like you had it harder than that person or whatever it may be. So you start sitting there trying to shit on their accomplishments because you feel like you didn't. Instead, yo, man, you know what? Because I'm going to tell you what I would fucking say. I would say, hey, listen, man, Floyd did what he did. He did it his way. It worked like a charm. And you know what, man? You can't take nothing from him. 50-0 for a reason. You know how hard it is for people to stay undefeated? And that's the thing, Roy. You got losses, and it's not like you fought a bunch of great fighters. That's the whole thing. That's the whole fucking thing. But you keep telling everybody what Floyd is and what he isn't and how come he can't be. If that's not a salty, bitter old man, you tell me what the fuck is. Let these guys come and do what they want. Y'all see, like Jim Jones is running his mouth talking about he's better than Nas, and I said, y'all give this motherfucker too much attention, man. Jim Jones is just running his fucking mouth talking shit. And whether he really feel like he's better than Nas or not, I really don't give a fuck. So I'm going to go out my way to try to change his mind for him. Now, when he starts talking about he sells more records, got more #1 records, all it, you had people bringing up the stats to show him, nah, Jim, you pale in comparison to his resume. We already know you're not better than Nas lyrically, but do I really give a fuck to be sitting up here? Oh, man, Jim Jones. I don't. So if that motherfucker want to think he's better than Nas, why the fuck do I care, man? I don't give a fuck about. What's your Mount Rushmore? Me, myself, and I, motherfucker. That's my Mount Rushmore. I don't need a number 4. Me, myself, and I, and us, motherfucker. That's my fucking Mount Rushmore. Fuck out of here, man. I don't have no fucking Mount Rushmore of fighters, no Mount Rushmore of rappers, no Mount Rushmore of that. I don't give a fuck about that. Things I talk about on this channel was for fun. I would do things like that, put up little surveys and shit like that, but I don't give a fuck about that stuff on a personal level. You know what I'm saying? And when you sit up here and call yourself the GOAT with your career and what you accomplished, that, bro, how the fuck could you sit here and argue with Floyd? Debate. Why do you care? Think about other fighters that have said they think they're the best. Evander Holyfield said that Ali's not the greatest of all time, and he is, because he's the only 4-time world champion. Ali was Roy's idol. Why Roy Jones don't make a big deal out of Holyfield saying he's the greatest heavyweight of all time? Why Roy Jones don't make a big deal out of James Toney saying he's the greatest fighter of all time? Because James Toney, I'm great at all them motherfuckers. I'm the greatest fighter of all time. He always tell you that shit. And Roy, you beat him. Why you don't make a big deal out of James Toney saying that shit? Remember that interview they had? It was Roy Jones, Chris Eubanks Jr., Joe Calzaghe was there. I can't remember everybody, but they had like a round table, and they all said James Toney was the best fighter out of all of them. Remember how mad Roy got? As easy as I beat him? You gonna say that? Ain't no way this easy. No, James Toney wasn't. He didn't like that shit. I'm telling you. But listen to him talk about James Toney. He put him on a pedestal because that's the best fighter he beat. So the more, like I said, the more praise James get, is like, well, damn, Roy beat that motherfucker. Shit, yeah, man. Roy, yeah, no. He got pissed off. He didn't like that. These are conversations Floyd don't have. Floyd don't have to have these conversations. He don't need to have these conversations. Andre Ward's 35-0. Nobody's talking about Andre Ward's career. Nobody gives a fuck about what he did and who he did it with. But if you ask anybody, the biggest accomplishment with him was winning the Super 6. Andre Ward was a bad motherfucker. But Roy Jones stood there and tried to make, like I said in the last video, tried to make Andre Ward seem like he was something different. He was special. Andre Ward wasn't special, man. He was a good fighter, but he wasn't special. All right, he was. And everybody want to fight somebody to put on the pedestal to say they're this, they're that. Yeah, like Chad Dawson. Remember Max Kellerman, the monster Chad Dawson, who nobody wants to fight, bro. Where you getting this? Nobody wants to fight this motherfucker from. He's not even that good. You see what happened when he fought against Andre Ward, right? And you know who was picking Andre Ward? ARIES. And you know what I said? Man, Andre Ward should fuck Chad Dawson up. I don't see it. I really don't see Chad Dawson. Man, Chad Dawson is just bigger. That's it. That's it. Ward is way better, way smarter. I just never saw nothing special about Chad Dawson. I saw Chad Dawson fight, guys. You know, he did better in the first half of the fight. Then he would just fade out for whatever reason. He just was inconsistent. He never beat anybody worth a shit. And his best wins is against an old washed up Tarver or old washed up Glenn Johnson. Okay, and an old washed up fucking Bernard Hopkins. That's the best names on his resume. Why you think nobody talks about him? He got his ass whooped and quit against Andre Ward. He quit. He didn't just lose, he quit. So every time you compare fighters and pull names up, what the fuck does that mean? Just because you say, well, this guy, that go, okay, I know what you're talking about. Just like y'all tried to talk like about this James Kirkland dude like he was something special. Man, that motherfucker was one-dimensional. He had power. He didn't know how to fight but one fucking way. And he was frustrating the fuck out of Ann Wolf because that motherfucker wouldn't listen. And I'm like, man, this dude ain't special. What world do we come from? What world do we live in that everybody now, if you can remember their name, oh, they're a legend. No, that motherfucker ain't no legend. James Kirkland's career ain't shit. And if you going to sit here and talk about he's a Hall of Famer or he's an all-time great, we don't even need to have a conversation ever. James Kirkland, stop. So, yeah, I had to get this video in, man, because I said, damn, you know, it's funny how Roy just can't avoid that conversation. Like I said, at some point, it's like, come on, man. At some point, man, like I said, you get tired of answering these same questions, man. Listen, let that man do what he's doing. He's enjoying life, man. Simple. In fact, let's look at this. Y'all making fucking all this talk about Floyd's broke, don't have it. Okay, whatever. Let's not forget something. Roy Jones fought an MMA guy who wasn't even a real boxer, who was just learning how to box, was a novice. He beat Roy Jones. And you know what Roy Jones said? I'm not fighting my opponent. I'm fighting the IRS. So, yeah. I don't think I can't imagine Roy getting no huge check for that fucking fight. So, if you're fighting the IRS, I'm just saying, yeah, fighting that level of competition and at your advanced age, and this is after Roy Jones said he ain't fighting no more. It made no sense. At my age, what's the problem? I mean, if the money ain't right, what's in it for me? The money. I'm like, damn. Well, why would the money be right at your age? Who the fuck want to see you in there? And then all of a sudden, him and Tyson got in there and did their little fixed WWE sparring match that y'all thought was a real fight. And you know what I'm saying is, all of these things that people are doing at an advanced age that nobody's talking about. And if they are talking about it, they're not talking about it in a good way. Manny Pacquiao looked like shit in his last two fucking sparring matches, his exhibitions, and all of a sudden he's fighting Mario Barrios. Like, you guys don't understand. Some people do things because they have to. Some people do things because they want to. Who would you rather be? Yeah, the guy that's at an advanced age, they got to hop back in there because, you know, shit is not happening the way they need it to, and this is the only way I know how to make big money. I got to fight again. Oh, man, he just loves boxing. He's dedicated to it. All right, whatever, man. Whatever. Believe what you will. But yeah, man, I love Floyd's response. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm just going to sit in front of this camera and watch this motherfucker get knocked out. That's all. I'm just going to watch him get knocked the fuck out. That's all I'm going to do. Then I'm going to go shopping and let everybody see how broke I am. Yeah. I know that fucked Roy up. I know that fucked him up. Because Roy can't send them same shots back. All Roy can do is talk about who Floyd couldn't beat in his opinion. We know who you couldn't beat. You showed us. You understand what I'm saying? We know who you couldn't beat. And the fact of the matter is, like I said, Floyd is not jumping in front of cameras. Roy. It's Roy doing this shit. It's Roy constantly talking about the same shit every time you see him. So I look at that, man, and I say this, and then I'm going to close this video. Where you are in life and what you've done. The most I can see a person doing legitimately that I would agree with is if they get motivated by something somebody else did. But when you get to the point where you start criticizing, you going to criticize fucking Floyd, but you going to sit here and praise Jake Paul? And you don't think that you sound like an old, bald-headed fucking hater? You really don't think that? And guess what? Floyd little ass got there with Logan. Okay? He got there with Logan. Who would you get in there with? See, these are things you tried to do that you couldn't get done. Understand what I'm saying? All I'm saying about Roy Jones, legend in the sport. I loved watching Roy fight, and the same with Floyd. But Roy, I'm going to say what other people scared to say. You were not Floyd. And the fact of the matter is, you're probably fortunate to not be the same size as Floyd. Because you want to know what? There's fights I saw you have with all that speed and all that movement that you got didn't work out the way that you would like to have worked against guys that didn't have Floyd smarts. See, from the outside looking in, yo, Roy would have did this, Roy would have... Right. Just like you said, you was going to do this and that to James Toney, and you was going to do this and that to this one and that one. And I'm telling you, you won the fight. But let's just be real, man. Okay? Let's just be real. You won these fights by decision, not by knockout. You won these fights by going in there and doing what you had to do to win. And the results are what they are. Your choice of opponents, the people that knocked you out, the people that outboxed you, I don't give a fuck what stage you're like, you still was in the ring. And when you go and look back at Floyd's career and go, damn, this motherfucker down near 50 still sharp as a fucking tack, man. And all you can do is talk about what Floyd isn't. And then give him half-ass credit. Like I said earlier, I don't know how Floyd, when they see each other or whatever, but I know for me, I'd tell Roy to go fuck himself. That's real shit. It's like Errol wasn't trying to hear that shit. And they put whatever past them. I saw them take a picture together and all. It was a group of them. And Roy and Errol was sitting next to each other in the picture. But, like, it's like, man, you just became an old, bitter-ass hater, man. Because, like I said, you have to call yourself the GOAT. Because your so-called boxing historians don't believe that shit. They're like, yeah, Roy was good, but I don't know if he would have beat Hagler or Duran or yeah, they say that about you. So you bringing those same names up saying Floyd couldn't beat him, and you want to know why it's worse for you? Because you're a fucking middleweight that went all the way to heavyweight. Floyd never been to 160. But yet it's still just nothing but opinions. And the fact that it bothers you when people say Floyd is the best. Floyd would have beat them motherfuckers. No, ain't no way. Why are you arguing about it? Why do you care? Why do you care? Yeah, I tell you to go fuck yourself. You wouldn't talk that shit about me, then come see me and shake my hand and smile and all of that. Like, nah, because that's some hater shit right there, man. Like I said, at some point you like, man, listen, Floyd did this thing, man, and ain't nothing to talk about, man. And the fact Ellie Setback even said, as a matter of fact, Ellie Setback was I think that was the same interview. And Ellie said to him about he thinks Canelo's power is going to be too much for Crawford, and he says after Floyd, I think it was the Ellie Setback. I think that was the same interview, and when he said, he said, I hear what you're saying, Roy, but you want to know what? He's like, Crawford isn't you. Roy go, well, he's not, but you understand what I'm saying? He's not, but I'm saying, like basically he know how to deal with the power. That's the video. He said, and I'm the GOAT. That's what he want people to say. Remember he had that partnership with Michael Jordan with Nike for? Yeah, Roy wanted to be that guy that anytime his name comes up, greatest of all time. Greatest of all time. He wanted to be in that position. He sounds how Scottie Pippen sounds when he's talking about Michael Jordan. That motherfucker went from saying, they asked him, how do you want to be remembered? He says, the greatest of all time. Yeah, you hating ass, jealous motherfucker. And he just turned off just started saying shit about Jordan out of nowhere. Talking about, Jordan buried him on the last dance. No, he didn't, man. No, he didn't. And you want to know what? Here's the thing. How many people have you seen come into the NBA and get compared to Scottie Pippen? All right? Even if they played the same position, how many people do you hear get compared to Scottie Pippen? That's the thing about Jordan. It doesn't matter what position you are. If you stand out and you look like you can do a little something on that court, first person Michael Jordan. That's the comparison for everybody. Michael Jordan. So yeah. When people hear that TBE, they see that 50-0, they hear bad news about this dude, then the next time you see him on the video, he's somewhere buying some more motherfucking cars, or that shit just fuck with people, man. Get over that shit, Roy. You're a grown-ass man. You doing your thing, living your fucking life, man. You always talking about what you would have did and how you would have did it. We remember, Roy. We was there. That's the thing. We was there. So, it's not, you know, like, just do you, man. Fuck, what you didn't do, you didn't do. It's simple, man. Simple. I know a motherfucker sat there and was like, man, I want to go to college and I want to do this and this and this and that. And he was down. Man, I told that motherfucker, man, I said, yo, you be cooking and doing all this shit, right? I said, man, why don't you fucking get like a little food truck? You got all these different businesses. Every time you turn around, the construction dudes, man, you set your shit up right. And he, damn, I never thought about that. And about a month later, that motherfucker did that shit. And you know what the fuck? His business grew from there. Now that motherfucker got a full restaurant, and he still got guys, got like 3 trucks now. And so you understand? Like, bro. And I said, yeah, your ass is ready to give up. Walk around here stressing yourself out, man. You ain't not beneath anybody because of how much money you have or don't have. Something you didn't do before, you might have to just do something else. Stop locking into, that's all I can do is whatever I thought about. That's where Roy seemed to be at. Like, man, it's like he said the type of person sit home trying to reenact his career. You know, like, yeah. And not even overall. When it comes to Floyd, though, especially. Hottest little mother. Just like Tyson. Remember 50 Cent told that story. Mike Tyson, I can't stand this motherfucker. Yeah, all y'all motherfuckers was jealous. Mike Tyson wanted to be that guy, too, at one point. The only difference with Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, honestly, I think Mike is dealing with it better. That, man, you know what, fuck it. Whatever I wanted to be and was trying. I had my chance. I think Roy just didn't get to that point yet. Roy still just wants something to happen and be said where he wake up one day and everybody said, nah, you know, I just realized, yo, Floyd ain't TBE, you are. Like, that shit really, he wants to be that guy. But it is what it is. Anyways, man, that's all I got for y'all now. Talk to me in the comment section, yo. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out to people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.